figure out how to get this shit done. But I think we're good for
Yeah,
right now. Hopefully.
it's it says we're live, so I think we're up and running.
All right. Good deal. Good deal.
Do you care if
All
I
right,
do you care if I smoke during
dude.
our episode?
Oh, I don't do what you got to do, man. It's not a problem.
Okay. I just know sometimes it pushes you down the stupid YouTube controls or whatever the hell
Yeah.
they do, but all right.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's just whatever happens, happens. I think call the YouTube people and let them know like Hitch wants to smoke, he can smoke.
Right.
Oh,
I
there
always
goes again.
Yeah, we're glitching.
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine live. Every time I glitch with Mark, it doesn't necessarily translate into the actual live. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. My internet's kind of shitty, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It looks like it's holding steady for right now, but we'll just keep going. I think we'll be all right. So I was about ready to record. I recorded a intro for my channel, kind of just shouting you guys out and let my audience know, where they can find me for the time being and where I'm going to be uploading to. I told them to subscribe to your channel. I posted some links, so I think we're in business right now. Hopefully, we get some people watching, and yeah, my channel's a little.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like my channel not super active right now, but we'll hopefully get a few subs in there. So
Yeah, anything helps us, helps you. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. Let's see if we can get some crossover. Mark and I are so thrilled when we have a long form episode that gets into the 200 or 300. So we're just grinding away, hoping that we'll get something to pop off.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just I've had a few videos go. I mean, talking about like politics and stuff, and just talking about various topics related to this or that. And just I did one. I bought this like shitty toy gun. This thing that I got it laying around here somewhere, but it's kind of realistic looking. I probably don't want to brand shit on YouTube, but I did a review of this thing. It got like 3,000 views.
Really?
It's just crazy. I mean, I still get views on it today. I released it over a year ago. Yeah, just some bullshit thing. I bought this gun off this website. I saw it on TikTok. I'm like, that looks pretty cool. So
Yeah, dude, you never know what's gonna hit.
I'm just this autistic man child. I got to buy my little toys. Yeah.
Mark and I had one go fairly viral, at least for what we do. We had one where I was talking about Jared Goff and the Goff chant. The whole Lions thing with Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Jared, and I had one where I was just talking about my commitment to getting the Goff chant started. Whenever I'm in a crowd, and I talked about trying to get the Goff chant going at my daughter's kindergarten fun run, and it just kind of relatively blew up. We got across across the platforms that we can track. It was a short. He clipped it into a short, and I think it got
Yeah.
17,000 views or something like that. And for us, that is just
No shit.
out of this world. And it was getting just on
That's
TikTok.
crazy.
Just on TikTok, it had a couple hundred shares, which I know like isn't
Yeah.
much, but for us, that's great. And people were tagging Pat McAfee in
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah. Any little bit helps, man.
yeah, dude. So you never know. We just keep grinding away and putting content out, and something might hit.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had videos before. I did this one video. It was my most watched video ever. But I just was talking about like the economy and like Gen Z and like some of their struggles with finding work and whatnot. I recorded it maybe 6, 7 months ago, but I uploaded it and it got 11,000 views, and I'm just like, you get something like 800, 900 views, couple thousand views. It just like you just gotta keep making the content. You gotta keep it, have at least some kind of semblance of like a schedule or something. But if you keep at it, I mean, something will hit. And I was able to I was able to. I had like 200. I was stuck at like 250 subscribers, and then I made a couple videos. I made that one really popular video, and I made a couple more that got a good amount of views and like a couple thousand views, and then I got like 300 subscribers. It was pretty crazy. It's kind of stagnant now. I haven't really been uploading too much stuff lately, but
So
I mean, working with you guys, that'd be pretty cool. I'm excited to do this kind of shit. It's.
Yeah, dude, we're glad to have you because not only are we
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
lag, but I'm with you. Lion centric podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Just.
Yeah, we'll fight through it. Detroit Lions fan forum on Facebook, and that's where we started kind of posting all the content that we do. That's mostly Lion centric, but right in our description of our page, we talk about being a safe space for all Detroit sports, and you're kind of becoming our Red Wings guy, and we got a Bills guy, we got a fantasy guy, we got a college guy. And we're trying to stay fresh and put stuff out. Mark is really good at keeping us to a schedule. Mark seems to be more available at night lately than I am, and he's been grinding away. So check us out if you're just cruising over to view Tom's live here. Check out Detroit Lions Fan Forum on Facebook, Spotify. We're going on Earwolf. We're going back on SoundCloud. We should be everywhere that you can stream audio, and then we got our YouTube and a Twitch, so we're just grinding.
That's good. You got to spread out as much as possible. But my main thing is YouTube. I mess around. I put some stuff. Instagram, I was never let that slap something together with AI and put it up there like, hey, this is a robot monkey. It looks kind of cool. Check it out. But I put like shorts up there, like video they're called, and I never ever got like, I think my most popular one got like 115 views or something, which is not terrible, but it's just not. I got no traction on Instagram, which is kind of a shame. But
they all have their
able to get some. I got to start uploading stuff to TikTok again.
Yeah, they all have different algorithms and different demographics. And you just got to find your market is what I'm figuring out, and you make yourself as available across all platforms as you can, and it's all about subscribers. And Mark and I kind of have this pact that we're going to keep doing this regardless of 11 views or 1,100 views or 100,000 views, because it's fun and we have these conversations. That's how this whole thing for us started. I started it years ago. So for the viewers, Tom and I know each other from high school, and Tom, you probably remember Ron Bonaventura. Yeah. So Ron and I,
of course.
Yeah, Ron and I played football together, lifelong best friends. We probably met in, 6th or 7th grade, I think. And now, we're 40, we're pushing. I'm 40, he's pushing 40, and we're still friends. And we were just we were having these Lions daily, if not weekly, probably daily. Lions conversations and fantasy football conversations, and we said, why don't we record these? Why don't we see if anyone else would be interested in this? And this is how this is how it started. And our fan forum via Facebook got up to at first, kind of overnight, couple hundred, then 600, then 800, and then I fortunately landed a higher level interview within the Lions organization, something that happened in our first year that I didn't even deem to be possible.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. We talked to, I can't remember. She was like the director of player relations, and she did more than just football. She did all sorts of event planning at Ford Field, and I had a one-on-one interview with her. And she was so gracious and so professional and gave us a ton of time, and probably an uncut, unedited hour and a half one-on-one with this lady, and that pushed our fan forum up over 1,000 almost overnight. And then once we started getting more creative and learning how to edit and learning what people want to talk about, and some timely stuff, some draft stuff, some fantasy football stuff, some free agent stuff. We got
Yeah.
into like 2000, and then Ronnie had an acquaintance through work with a former Michigan State football player. He was defensive player of the year on the Rose Bowl team. And he came on the show a couple of times, talked about the draft process,
Yeah.
talked about playing for the Texans, and he gave us a bunch of sound drops, and that pushed us forward again. And now I think the fan forum kind of plateaued. When the Lions got good, we got a bump. Probably plateaued.
Yeah.
I think around like 6,000. So that's where we drive everything through the fan.
Wow.
We drive everything through the fan forum. And I know getting people to click like on
Yeah.
Facebook is a lot different than getting people to click like on a YouTube or subscribe to a YouTube, but we drive everything through there, so everything we push out immediately gets notified to, 6,000 people, which is better than I thought we would ever do. So we just
Yeah.
keep grinding and putting out content.
That's crazy, man. It's just like with me, it's just like when I first started YouTube, I mean, I had a YouTube channel for a while, but I never really uploaded anything. And then the one day it was just like it was during the pandemic. I was bored as hell, and I think it was like during those a few months, like early 2020, I had nothing going on, and it's just like I remember talking sports with all my buddies, and we love talking sports, and it's just like I'd like to think I have at least a good amount of sports knowledge, and so I started this YouTube channel. I called it Detroit Sports with TH. And I just kind of went from there. I started just doing like updates. I think I tried covering too many teams. I covered all six of the teams, including Michigan State and Michigan. I tried covering basketball, football for those guys. And I was uploading stuff. And, my one video, I made a video. This is right after Troy Weaver got hired as the Pistons GM. I remember like how much hope we had in him. And then I covered like some of his free agency moves and the draft. And that video, I remember I uploaded it one night, and I woke up the next morning, I checked it, it had 2,000 views.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit. And then yeah, I was just like, that was like my fourth video I ever uploaded to the channel, and it finished with like 4,000 views. I got like 80 subscribers. Like I only had like 2 to start with.
80 is huge.
So I was just like, hey, this is crazy, man. So I just kind of took off from there, and I never really, yeah, it was crazy. Like right out the gate, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm a legit YouTuber now. And I uploaded for a while longer, for a few more months. I was putting out like 3 or 4 videos a day, just covering random stuff. And this is back in 2020, 2021. And I just kind of burnt out on it. I got a little tired of it. And I think the last video I uploaded talking about sports was about Jared Goff getting traded, the Matthew Stafford trade back in 2021, I believe that was.
Oh yeah.
And then I kind of took a long break from it. Yeah, it's still in shit. So, but I started uploading that stuff. And then I took a break from the sports stuff. Then I came back. I started making other kinds of content. But, I'm back when you guys, asked me to make some videos for you. I slapped a few videos together for Mark. He's uploading them on YouTube right now. I'm just covering some updates. Obviously, I got my Wings stuff on. So I haven't worn this jersey. I've worn this jersey like 3 times in the last 15 years. So I'm excited to pull it out of the closet again. It's an old Datsuk jersey. So
Datsuk. All right. I was going to ask you who's on the back. So you got
yes, sir.
Your Datsuk. Nice. So
yes, sir.
So I'll tell you.
Very exciting stuff. I bought this at like.
Oh, go ahead.
Oop. No, you go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you that I've been kind of like quietly following your channel and your growth. I remember during the pandemic again, just like locked in, nothing to do. We had to quarantine real hard because my daughter has a pre-existing condition, and we had to just lock it down.
Yeah.
And I was following what you were doing, man, and I always thought you were funny in school, and I always thought you were a big personality and have a lot to say. And I had a lot of fun kind of hopping back and forth and checking in on your videos. And some of them, man, are some of the quick hitters that you did early on are hilarious.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think some of the stuff I made, like some of the beer reviews, I like doing those for a while. I drank over like 150 kinds of beer. It was crazy. There was a fancy beer store right down the street from me. I'd go there, pick up a couple tall boys. They had all sorts of weird stuff. They had stuff called like Rumpelstiltskin's pubes or something.
Yeah.
It'll be some goofy like IPA or some shit,
Yeah.
just something that tastes like. And there's some of that stuff up there. It tasted like. I should talk more about. I'd like talking more about that kind of stuff because I'm a big beer fan. But just like some of the stuff was good. It just tasted the same. Certain IPA. So that I focused mostly on those, but most of them just like kind of tasted the same. And but then you get flavor back. That's after that, you get some stuff that tastes like sweaty gym socks, and it's just like, oh my god, who puts this in their body?
Yeah.
But so I messed around with that a little bit. I was loaded some, yeah, it got me a good amount of views. I'd like to think I was funny, so I had some moments. I recorded some comedy skits and some stuff like that. Just messing around, just having fun. I just like, if I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. So.
Well,
I kind of took a break from that,
That's the thing, dude.
Oop.
You put yourself out there. I have buddies that aren't necessarily football fans, but they watch our content and they applaud us for just putting ourselves out there. There's that thing with the internet that whatever we say right now is forever available. And putting yourself out there the way that you do or that Mark and I do, it's easy to sit here and feel like we're just having a conversation amongst friends, but it's live streaming, and we're on the fucking internet from now through perpetuity. And there's something to be said for just taking that first step and getting yourself out there. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get.
Yeah.
And the more rapport you get with the people that you're collaborating with. And it might never strike gold, but it just becomes fun and second nature. And I think about the editing that I was doing to the first 24 fan forum audio only, Spotify, SoundCloud, thinking about the intensive editing that I had to do. And then we hit a point with me and Ronnie in particular where we were just vibing. You hit this point where it's just like having the phone conversation that we've had for 20 years, and you don't have to edit, you don't have to worry about it, and it just gets better and better and better. And just gotta put yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big like stumbling block for me. It's just like starting to like kind of come out of my shell. I've always been kind of like nervous to put myself out there. I guess I have like fear of like getting rejected or fear of like just embarrassing myself. But you put yourself out there and you still get some mean comments sometimes. I'm a big goofy looking dude. People are gonna talk their smack. It's just like it's whatever. But you win some people over. Like most comments I get, like 95% are positive. They're offering something good. They're like engaging with the conversation. And then once in a while you get some dickhead talking shit or whatever. But that's just par for the course. I mean, if you're online in any capacity, you're gonna get some haters no matter what you do. But it's just like I can say, I put myself out there. I tried building something. I'm not. I don't even have 1,000 followers yet. So I mean, it's not really any big thing. But I freaking. If I have to give myself props, I grinded for a long time to get as many followers as I did. And I thought I'd never get the channel this big. But, I'm a YouTube partner now. I can get memberships and stuff. So, I got Mark in the chat saying some stuff. So,
is that Mark that's about to hit?
Thanks, Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Are all of these Mark that about hitting us up?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They're all Mark. Yeah. He's saying some. He's saying some stuff, but I'm glad it's working. I'm glad the stream is working. I get so nervous with some of this technology, man. I'm just like, but you just learning this stuff. It's a good skill to have. I try not to be too much of a boomer, and I try to get to a point where I can like start running this stuff by myself, and learning OBS and learning video production, how to set up a camera and a microphone. Those are good skills to have because content production that can be. I'm not saying you could like one of 1% of people can make a living doing it, but it's a good skill to have because it's a fun to earn a little bit of a living doing it, make it like a side hustle or something like that. But you got to be entertaining, so it's like you got to challenge yourself to like do new things and try new kinds of content out. And I've been throwing just kind of like black, but
Well, you know, Mark,
you know, it's a learning experience, but you know, it's fun.
Mark will be the first one to tell you that that I'm a straight up boomer when it comes to like following the link and getting on and getting all of my equipment set up. But once I'm on,
Yeah,
All Mark has to do is pull that string and get me fired up, and I go. I'm comfortable in front of the microphone, but I'm bad at the back end, and that's what
yeah,
Mark has brought so much to the Fan Forum podcast in particular. I tell him all the time, and
yeah, definitely.
I can't stop saying it enough that he keeps me going. I got so burnt out by the editing that I had to do because our initial vision for the Fan Forum podcast was to sound like a radio show. And it took Mark a lot of convincing to get
Yeah,
me to just flow and come on live and take this true podcast
yeah,
format and give up the desire for like absolute perfection. And Mark has done so much.
yeah.
All he has to do is send me the link, and most weeks
Oh
he
yeah,
has to send it to me 3 or 4 times before I can get on there, and he's got to remind me to turn my microphone on and all that dumb shit. But once I get on, I can go. So I'm a little bit of a boomer in that regard, where I'm not good with this
yeah,
technology, but I like to talk.
yeah. That's good. You know, it's just like I remember buying like you know when I was making YouTube videos and like I wasn't active, but I remember about like 10 years ago, and I bought this really nice like podcast mic, and I had this like really nice like USB interface for it and all this stuff, and the XLR cables and crap. And I remember making those videos. I had that TH show, and I'd upload stuff to Facebook,
Yep.
just joking around, horsing around, and stuff like that. But I should have put some of that stuff on YouTube. I might have had a little bit of an audience, but you know, I figured I was still nervous about it. I was like so nervous for like years, like putting myself out there like that. I just figured I'd share some of my stuff with my friends, but I remember doing it the first couple of times. I was so nervous, just slapping things together and trying to be funny and trying to be like trying not to fuck things up. You know, I still have I recorded a lot of bloopers over the years. Like I made that like YouTube intro. I made a video like shouting you guys out, and I remember the first recording I did, my big fat hand slapped the pop filter off the microphone. It landed in the garbage, and I'm just like, fuck. You know, I was so annoyed, but I got that recorded. It's like 17 seconds of me swearing, but you know, there's so many moments. I mean, once you get a good flow going, you know, it's just like a lot of times you're just you're just trying to keep things together. But you know, I got a lot of experience streaming and stuff. I've streamed on YouTube. I've streamed on other platforms. But just trying to like captivate an audience. And I'd like to think that I've learned a lot about it, and I could, you know, carry this kind of stuff. You know, I'm not trying to like, you know, boost my ego or anything like that. But you know, I'd like to think that I'm good at, you know, what I do. I can at least be somewhat entertaining, and I can at least, you know, offer the audience something, you know, and yeah, but I like your guys' podcast too. I do watch it quite often. Every time there's a new episode on, I like the episode with Bobby. Every time you're on Hitch, it's appointment viewing for me. But you know, it's cool to see my bros from high school. Yeah, but it's cool to see like my bros from high school, you know, doing something. And I like to think I inspired you guys. So of course, if you ever become rich and successful, you owe me some money. But
Yeah, we'll give you like
but yeah,
1% of the back end, you know.
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Just buy me a Coney dog every once in a while. But yeah, it's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. But you know, we talked about kind of like the behind the scenes kind of stuff and just like the origins of the channel and stuff. But you know, I mean, I figured maybe we could talk about sports. How do you feel? I mean, we could talk about politics.
So
I mean, if you want to jump.
yeah, guide the ship, dude.
Okay.
I have a ton of experience public speaking. I'm comfortable in front of a microphone. I'm bad at
Yeah.
the tech end of this, but I've been public speaking on and off, personally and professionally, for almost 20 years, and I'm locked and
Yeah.
loaded. You want to talk politics? You want to talk sports? I mean, you want to talk movies? You want to talk music? You guide the ship here. I'll follow suit.
Okay. Okay. This is my first time hosting something like this, so you'll have to forget. I've done some stuff on Discord before, but I mean, it was just kind of, I don't know. I'm so bad at prepping this shit. But I tell you what, the Tigers did wind up winning. They've won 2 in a row now. Apparently, Reese Olson has been not he's done for the season. I don't know if he had Tommy Johns or what's going on, but he's been kind of injured throughout the year. He's had some solid starts, but overall, it just he's had some. He got roughed up in that game against the Blue Jays, and it's looking like his season's done. But the Tigers did make some free agency moves that I thought were interesting. But we can talk about that a little bit, kind of keep the focus, kind of discuss sports and whatnot. But
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell
did you have
you.
any thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you my experience with the Tigers, just germane to this year. Um, they ended the year strong last year. They were super fun to watch. Um, AJ Hinch is joining the rank of these revered Detroit sports coaches, skippers, whatever you want to call them, and it's been a lot of fun. But I didn't jump right on
Yeah,
the bus. I mean, I pay the $100 a month for Fubo TV or whatever, so I can watch Wings and watch
yeah,
Tigers, and I'll tell you what, man, my wife, huge baseball fan, hasn't followed baseball
yeah,
as closely in the last couple of years as she has her entire life, for a lot of different reasons, but what the Tigers started out doing fast and furious and led them up almost to the All-Star break. Uh, they were grooving. They were gelling. They were grooving. Um, it was super fun to watch, and it it
yeah,
it kind of reignited my passion, that I felt like during high school, post high school, all of these stellar teams that never could quite pull it together to win a series, but this exuberance around Tigers baseball for me was back, and it compelled me to buy MLB The Show on
mhm,
PlayStation. And just the last couple of months of playing the show late at night in my free time, it sucked me back in to the point where we're like playing the Blue Jays and I know who these players are now, and we're playing, the Giants, and I know
yeah,
who these players are now. So shout out to adults who play video games. I love it, dude, and I was playing it before we got on, and I'll play it when we're done here. But that is such an awesome conduit into the league because I'm a Detroit sports fan.
yeah,
The only sport that I
mhm,
follow a league wide is football. I love the Red Wings. I love the Tigers.
yeah.
I'm trying to love the Pistons, but these fucking video games, man, they educate you and kind of teach
Yes,
you
they
what to
do.
look for and how to watch and who these guys are, and the Tigers were barnstormers before the break, and B, coupled with this video game, it's just reinvigorated me into watching baseball that I wouldn't have watched before.
Yeah.
I'm watching nighttime baseball
Oh
that has
yeah,
nothing to do with the Tigers, and I wouldn't watch that if I didn't spend the $39 on this video game and kind of reintroduce myself into baseball.
yeah, yeah. Same thing for me with the NHL games. I would buy those every year like clockwork. The second a new one came out, me and a couple of buddies of mine would just like sit and. I mean, we had so many arguments like, playing like NHL, like multiplayer and whatnot. But I remember like hanging out. I was living at my grandma's old house at the time, and I remember playing NHL like 13 with my buddy Matt, just going back and forth. Like he would be the Wings, or I'd be the Capitals or the Flyers or whatever, going
Right.
back and forth. But those games are fun. It's compelling stuff. I don't have a console right now, unfortunately, but it's just those games were so much fun, and it's fun to just kick back and just like play it like a sports game, and it's just it's different from other games. I've mostly just played hockey games for the most part. But I haven't bought an NHL game in a while. I haven't had a console in a while, but I've kind of been just I don't know. I've got to do boring adult stuff. I don't always have time to game, but
Right.
it's fun. I mean, some great memories. You're drinking beer. I remember one time we were doing shots of Patron, and like we would do this thing where we were like whoever won a game, whoever lost would have to take a shot, and we were just doing this for like a few hours. We were playing till like 3 a.m. We were so fucked up.
Oh, dude, and
But
those are the best.
it was like one of those things, just like a fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was fun times, man. It was a while ago, but it's just like you get older and you lose touch with people, but you remember this kind of stuff, but it's cool, and kind of as an aside, I mean, just you and Mark reaching out to me, I mean, that was great. I mean, I figure we haven't really hung out in quite a while, so I mean, it's good to get to talk to you guys in sports. That's the thing. Moreover, with like the video games and the experiences, but sports can be a thing that can bring people together, and we can all like share in the spectacle. And there's so many good things about sports, and it's fun to talk about. And it's entertainment, but it's also a nice distraction from all the shit
Absolutely,
going
dude.
on.
I couldn't have said that any better, Tom, because we could sit here all night talking about politics, but I don't know what you think. You don't know what I think. I don't know what listeners want to hear. We could talk about music. We could talk about movies. But if you're not, the horror fan or the action fan, we're going to lose you. If you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or a Green Party, we're going to lose people.
Yeah.
But sports like unites us all, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It just doesn't matter, right? We all like the Lions. We all root for the Tigers. We all played basketball as a kid. It's this.
Yep.
For lack of a better explanation, it's this bipartisan thing that most of us can relate to, right?
Yes. When you're down at the stadium, when you're watching the Tigers or the Wings or whoever, and you're surrounded by screaming people, and people are getting drunk, we're having a good time, Wings are scoring goals, you don't give a shit about like everything else just gets put on the back burner, and you're just like you're not all the stuff that divides us just kind of floats away, kind of melts away. You can just be together with people and cheer something on. But I don't get down to a lot of college football games. But I remember there was a B-Dubs when I lived in Grand Rapids. I would head to this B-Dubs. It was right next door to where I was staying, and I remember going up there for those Michigan Ohio State games. Chugging beer, eating wings, and it would be me and a bunch of guys. The place would be absolutely packed, standing room only, and I'd be sitting at the bar. I'd get there like super early. I'd have my coffee. I'd run up to B-Dubs at like 10:30, and then I would just sit, and then the game would come on. And that first game, the 2021 game where they beat Ohio State for the first time in like 10 years, I remember we were that best sports environment, best non-arena, non-like sports venue environment. That was one of my the most. That's some of the most fun I've ever had. Just cheering. I was hugging people. I didn't know anybody. I was clapping people on the back. I was getting drunk with people, stuffing myself with wings. It was a great time, and we got this. We got to shove a loss into OSU's stupid face, and it was a great time. But just people all getting together. We weren't discussing bullshit. Yeah. We were just having fun and just like enjoying something. Just it's like humans have always had like a spectacle to watch. Like even back in like the Roman days where they had like the gladiators and whatnot. But people love that sports. They love the spectacle. It's good for people to get together and enjoy it. And talk some shit and have some fun.
Yeah, it's one thing.
Okay, we got Mark on here talking about Roseanne.
Oh, Roseanne, dude. Roseanne's another great one. Mark's trying to reinvigorate my mash
Yeah.
fire and fury, but
Yeah.
not to be redundant, but just kind of echoing your sentiment, it doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter how much money you make in a year. It doesn't matter the state of the economy.
Yeah.
I can remember multiple fond memories of going out to the bar with all my buddies. 2008 Tigers, 2009 Tigers, like right when we turned 21.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what bar we went to. If we were playing the Yankees, everyone in the bar hated the Yankees, except for maybe one guy, and we were all able to give
Oh
that
God,
guy
yeah.
some shit without starting trouble. Same
Yeah.
thing. Same thing when the Wings were good. I remember watching the Wings win a cup at Channel Marker on the Nautical Mile, surrounded by
Yeah.
quote unquote like-minded people. It didn't matter who you vote for or if you're upside down on your house. Everybody was there to see the Wings
Hmm.
win a cup, and it's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that I cling to sports is that it unites.
Yeah. I remember that Wings. I remember watching him win it. I was at my buddy Sean's house, and we were watching it. We were watching it live, and I remember when like Marion Hossa was in the crease, and that goal skidded right by the crease, right behind Chris Osgood, and then 3 seconds later the game was over. And I remember just like jumping up and down. I remember hearing all these screams, all this. We were at an apartment, and he's like screaming. People were riot cops out there, and he was stuff. But it was a great moment, and just like that's something like there's a lot of shit going like with the economy, with politics, with Trump, stuff that pisses people off. But it's just like moments like that are so important. Just being able to just enjoy something like just be able to talk shit, be able to have like the spectacle is so amazing. Just be able to say like my team's the best. And I remember the Red Wings winning. I remember watching that as a kid, back to back championships in the '90s, and I remember just like the thought in my head, like we have the best hockey team in the world.
Yep,
It's insane, and you're
absolutely.
just like, because the Wings had, I mean, I don't remember much of like the bad, like the '80s or like not the '80s Wings. That was before my time, but I started watching them probably. I remember watching like the Dead Wings, before, I mean, but I remember watching it. I remember the '95 finals against the Devils, and we got swept that year. But I remember watching it back then. I remember watching it when I was a little kid, and you just watch. But it was like I didn't really know what was going on. I'm just like watching like these guys in red jerseys just skating up and down the ice, and I'm just like, what's the deal with these guys? But I mean, you get older and you remember all these great moments, and it's just like it's been a long time since the Detroit sports teams won. Wings haven't won since '08. That was the last real championship we had in the city, and that was 17 years ago. We got kids old enough to drive who've never watched like a Detroit sports championship, and it's just like the thought that one of these teams is doing well, turning it around, and we could witness that the joys of a championship and get like a Super Bowl parade or a Stanley Cup parade down Woodward. Just it's such an exciting thought. And
Well,
it's something that really is good.
to that end, Tom, you think about kids now,
Yeah.
middle school kids or young high school kids and grade school kids. Everybody loves sports, and you think about what we had to endure as Lions fans, as diehard Lions fans, and now you got kids, the age of Mark's son, and my daughter's only 7, but she loves watching the Red Wings and she loves watching the Lions. And you think about what we had to endure as Lions fans, and now we've at least as of the last couple of years we've turned this corner, and I'm not I'm not mad, dude. I'm not mad that there's a bunch of these fair weather fans or a bunch of these quote unquote bandwagon fans. I'm just
Yeah.
happy that people are finally on board. Like you look at the Lions TV
Yeah.
ratings and great, dude. I don't care that we had to suffer through what we had to suffer through with the Dead Wings or the historic lost Tigers or the 0-16 Lions.
Yeah.
We never jumped ship, and that's okay, dude. I'm just happy that that there's kids, you know, like you said, driving age or younger, that don't really remember how bad the Lions were. And I struggle with that with
Yeah.
people talking about the Red Wings not really living up to the Iser plan. And I think, dude, we're like, we've been literally one game away, and all these games matter, and we're in it till the end of the season. And like
Yeah.
we remember the back-to-back championships and how electric that was, but albeit this playoff drought, it's still been some fairly fun overall hockey to watch. The last 3 years of the Lions has been
Yeah.
electric, and I'm just happy that people are on board, you know?
Yeah, exactly. People were so snooty. I remember back in '06 when the Tigers won or they got they won the pennant. They got to the World Series, and the World Series was really didn't go our way. But that was a huge moment. The first time
Did we lose to the Cardinals in that?
that was the Cardinals.
Yeah.
We lost 4 games to 1 against the Cardinals. That was the year. Well, they had who was it? Was what are the Weaver brothers? I think, or who the hell won the World Series MVP that year? He was out of the league in like 2 years. I don't remember, but I remember like the excitement that generated because the Tigers were an also ran for the longest time. It was just like
It was former Tiger Jared Weaver, I believe.
What's the Jared Weaver? Okay,
I think.
yeah,
So.
okay,
Yeah.
but I remember back then, with Maglio and with what was that dickhead's name? Maglio, Pudge, and
or
the other guy whose name I forget because I'm stupid, but Ordonez, of course, Maglio, can't forget him,
Yeah.
and Carlos, what's his nuts?
Carlos Guillen made an impact.
Carlos Guillen, yeah. Placido Polanco and all those guys, and
who's
Jeremy
the cat-
Bonderman and
who's the
Brandon
cat-
Inge.
Who's the cat that is on the was on the broadcast? He's a right fielder. He was in the booth and on the broadcast for a long time, man.
Andy Dirks.
No,
Yeah.
black guy.
Oh, Craig Monroe.
Craig Monroe, right? Like
Does that sound familiar?
a guy like
Yeah,
Seaman,
yeah.
a guy like Seaman was like bottom of your lineup or like not expected when your worst player is Craig Monroe. I think with some of those Tigers teams, even though they were winning games and popular and national attention, we didn't realize how special some of those teams were.
Yeah. But it was a big deal. It was the first time we made the playoffs in 19 years. Tigers were an also ran for 2 decades. But I remember like the attitude of a lot of people because, I was like, I went to a few games at Tiger Stadium. I'm probably one of the few people I know who can say that. But, I watched Tigers as a kid, off and on, but I wasn't really invested in the team because, remember the '03 season that was like they tied the Mets record for most futility. Yeah. But a lot of people were very snooty about it and they didn't want the fair weather fans in. Like all the people that didn't start watching the Tigers till '06, they were just like persona non grata. And you had these people who were just like, you're not a true fan. You didn't watch them when they had Juan Encarnacion and Bobby Higginson and you don't remember like the Trammell days. It's just like personally, I thought it was annoying back then, but it's just like it's stupid now. And it's just like, if people want to come on board, I don't blame people for not wanting to watch the Lions. There have been so many moments, there have been so many times where I'd watch them just like blow a lead or lose in the last few seconds or throw 5 interceptions in a game or some shit like that. And I just ask myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But now I feel like I'm being rewarded. And I don't blame people for not watching it back then because the product was dog shit for decades. But if they want to come on board, you want to root for come on board, man. There's plenty of room for you. I'm excited. And, if the Wings ever...
Plenty of room
exactly.
And on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just, just come on board. It's good stuff. We're enjoying ourselves. We're having some fun. It's just sports is, for me, sports is for everybody. And if you're a casual fan, cool. If you're an obsessive weirdo like us, cool. But it's just like the important thing is, we get together, root for our teams, and the really important thing is we can talk shit on people like the Cleveland Guardians and the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees. I tell you, going back to some of my Tigers memories, watching the Tigers knock the Yankees out of the playoffs multiple times was so great for me. It was almost as good as a World Series, but just knocking them out in '06 and '12, and it's great, good stuff. I mean, Tigers gave me a lot of happy memories. No World Series, but that could be changing soon. So,
let me
but
let me circle back to something you said a minute ago. You brought up
yeah,
you brought up a lot of Tigers players, so did I. But when you said Bobby Higginson, I want to ask you a question about Bobby Higginson.
yeah.
If you had to put like one phrase, if you will, that was like burnt into your mind about Bobby Higginson, is there anything that like you could sum it up with like one statement, one sentence about Bobby?
I'd have to say he was the best of a bad lot. He did have some talent. There were a couple guys on those teams that were okay, but it was just one of those guys that comes along. It's just like he made the All-Star game. Did he make the All-Star game? I don't remember, but
Yeah, I think he did, but that
he had some good numbers for us.
yeah,
Yeah,
every team had to send somebody, so there was years that he was
yeah,
the guy that we had to send. But
yeah,
what I'm getting at is when I think of Bobby Higginson, he was one of the first
yeah.
Tigers that I can remember really watching and really invested in. And in retrospection, when I look back at Bobby Higginson, the phrase that comes to my mind is warning track power. How many times did that guy just sweet stroke a breaking ball that just carried as far as it could without leaving the fucking stadium? Warning track power for Bobby.
Yeah, I remember back in the days. I remember, back, Comerica Park's been around for 25 years, but that big stadium, that far back wall, how many times you see somebody put air on something that goes like over 400 feet, still doesn't get out. But,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that frustrates me about the park, but whatever. I think they brought the walls in a little bit over the years, but,
It was frustrating.
but yeah,
It was frustrating because it was a pitcher's ballpark, but we had skippers that didn't want to play small ball and appeal to or give weight to pitching. We kept drafting and free agent signing guys with fucking power, and it wasn't. I don't think it wasn't until Jimmy Leland at Comerica, where those corners were deep and that outfield is still 420, where he came in, and granted he came in with a pretty solid pitching rotation, but he built a team like he did in Pittsburgh, and I think where else was he? Florida maybe, where he
I think he
built
was with Colorado for a year.
Colorado, where they played small
Yeah.
ball. And it's not flashy, and it's not
Yeah.
what the commissioner wants, and it's not what TNT or Fox Sports wanted, but small ball. Play for bases, bunt the fucking ball, rely on your starters to go deep. You got deep fences, and he was the first one that embraced small ball, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It was kind of a different. It was a different kind of thing because I remember them signing Juan Gonzalez back in the day, and the guy all the guy did was bitch about how like long, how far away the walls were and all that stuff. And he was a terrible fit. He underperformed that year. Remember, we got him from the Rangers.
Yep.
He was used to playing with who else is on that team? Rafael Palmeiro. I think he played with A-Rod for a while, so he was used to having like power around him, but he hits with like Dimitri Young and like Bobby Higginson and stuff, and in a team that really wasn't. I mean, Detroit really wasn't a big baseball market. I mean, until like I would say '06, and we're still not. Obviously we don't have the cash with the Dodgers or the Yankees, but right, it's but like but yeah, I remember like changing up, like getting back to your point, without rambling too much, but it's just like I remember like changing up the scheme and changing up, like not relying on, just the way the team was built, the solid infield, the pitching staff,
Yeah.
Going through the fundamentals, playing small ball, as you said, it was kind of a different direction for the Tigers to take. And when I'm sorry, Dave Dombrowski came here, trained for Carlos Pena and stuff like that, and he was all right for us, but we kind of got away from that stuff, and the Tigers built a new identity because it's one of those things. You see a lot of teams like stay irrelevant for decades, and the Tigers were irrelevant for decades, and Leland came and changed the thing up, and the Tigers have struggled since then, but last few years. They're definitely on the way back up. I know they struggled last couple weeks, but it's just like it comes with like a cultural change, and Leland brought a cultural change.
Yes. Agreed.
And
Agreed.
he was demanding. I remember some of his early press conferences where he was talking about the team. Yeah,
No,
it was like Dan
ahead.
Campbell.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say about the pressers.
oh yeah. No, it's just like there's guys that come in like Scotty Bowman, with the Red Wings in the 90s. I mean, the Wings had talent on that team, but, when Bowman got here, he brought them to a whole nother level. And, with Dan Campbell coming in here, I mean, the Lions culture was god awful dog shit for decades. And he comes in here with Brad Holmes. They changed the whole thing around, and Sheila, all the credit due to Sheila Ford, I mean, being able to, actually bring somebody in like Chris Spielman, who just, with the old Fords, with old man Ford, he just liked having a football team. It was just like a tax shelter for him or whatever. He just liked, the thought of owning a team. He wasn't invested in winning at all. But Sheila comes in and just like, we're not going to do this anymore. I mean, she kind of changed the legacy of the Fords. I mean, this is the best the Lions have ever looked. This is the best the organization has ever looked, ever. But yeah, things can change. You get that spark coming in.
The Lions under Sheila, because you can't nobody can sit here and tell me that a guy like Steve Mariucci was a bad hire. Nobody can sit here and tell me that we weren't trying, but we weren't trying to change the culture. We were trying to go out and spend money and bring in some flashy front office and some flashy coaches and some flashy free agents. Granted, the salary cap is more relevant in football than probably any other sport, but I feel like you said the old man Ford liked owning a football team. He was fortunate or
Yeah.
lucky to have guys like Barry Sanders and Herman Moore, but he couldn't do anything with them with
Yeah.
guys like Wayne Fonts, But Sheila came in and was able to confidently say, I know how to run a business, but I know what I don't know, and we're gonna build this back out from brass tacks up, right? We're gonna start over,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna just, Matt Patricia. I hate to say that name out loud. I can't stand that motherfucker. But when they hired Matt Patricia, everybody heralded it. Everybody said this is fantastic. This is awesome, myself included. But you go out and you're not looking for this flashy Matt Patricia type hire to bring in the Patriot way. You go out and you look for a guy that is the antithesis of Matt Patricia, and you go out and look for a guy in Dan Campbell who isn't flashy, but you have faith in. And to your point, Sheila was the first one to say, let's just blow this up and start over. They weren't waiting for bye weeks or after the trade deadline or what have you to shit can somebody. She came in and said, this is my guy. And it was interesting that they hired, I think, didn't they hire the coach before the GM? I think they hired Dan Campbell before Brad Holmes, and that's kind of something that you don't do. That's unorthodox. But Sheila, I don't think it's credit due to anybody but Sheila. I think Rod Wood is a suitable placeholder, but he was here for the garbage, right? But
Yeah.
you get somebody like Sheila that is impressed by this Dan Campbell during the interview process, and she says, "Fuck it, I don't care that we haven't hired a GM yet. We're bringing this guy in because this guy is who we want to represent Detroit. This guy, Dan Campbell, is a guy that we believe in. This guy wants to be here. This guy has an idea of the culture he wants to build." And then you go out and bring in Brad Holmes, who is highly regarded and proven in the sense of that he knows what football is and what makes a good football player and how to scout players. But I don't know, dude. Do you think that she knew? I don't know the answer to this. Do you think that she knew that this pairing was gonna be stellar? Because she did it in reverse, but they're like the same person, the same mentality, the same energy. I think she hired the coach and then went out and got somebody that was invested in the same type of rebuild, same type of player, same type of energy. I don't think that gives her too much credit. I think that she's been instrumental in A, putting the pieces in place,
Yeah.
and then B, letting them cook. Because you can put them in place, but then you can usurp them during the draft or during free agency. But she put them in place, and she's letting them cook.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think that she knew, like you said, she knew what she didn't know, and she was just like she wanted outside help, and she saw the guy, and I have to believe that when she was in the room and talking to Dan Campbell, she saw something special in him. And Dan Campbell's a guy who, think about all the other coaches we've had, the Morning Wigs, the Marinellis, Jim Schwartz. I like Jim Schwartz for what it was worth, but he wasn't a good fit. And
I like Jim Schwartz a lot. I like Jim
the
Schwartz
and
a lot.
what?
He probably got shit canned a little
Yeah,
too early.
I was bummed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think so. But what are you going to do? But yeah, I think about all the guys, Jim Caldwell. None of those guys were really inspiring figures. None of those guys could like rally people. Dan Campbell, the whole thing he exudes, his whole attitude, his whole presence is like as a leader of men, as as a player's coach, as a guy who would run through a brick wall through his team. And those guys on that roster would walk through fire for him. And it's a guy that was inspiring, a guy that, kind of bounced around. He had a coaching stint. I think he was like a backup coach for like the Miami Dolphins for a little while like that. And he was a former Lions tight end back in the 2000s. But, you get a guy like that who just exudes all this raw passion. And it's just like, that's exactly what we need on this team. And with Brad Holmes, too, it's just like a guy who, I mean, if he's not like a top 3 GM in football, I don't know what the hell we're doing. But I mean, just the thought, and you got to be hungry for this Lions team. And a lot of other guys just thought, like with Matt Patricia, like I said it before on our last stream, but it's just like the guy thought he was going to do the Patriot thing. He wanted to be Bill Belichick light. He was going to come in here, bring the Patriots culture in here, and just coast off his name. Like, I got Bill Belichick on speed dial. You guys got to listen to me. It's just like, fuck off with that shit. And the same thing with Bob Quinn, coming in. He didn't know what the hell he was doing either. Some of the god awful draft picks and whatnot. But you just like you get guys in here that know what they're doing, that like the eat, sleep, and breathe football, that know these moves, that break with convention, and they have an excellent eye for Brad Brown was a 4th-round pick, for God's sake. The guy's, he does it all on the field. You can line up in the slot. You can do anything. But a guy like that in the later rounds, incredible. And all these other, people thought he was kind of reaching for Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs looks like Barry Sanders out there. It's insane. But,
dude,
bringing a guy in who can actually evaluate talent.
That Gibbs draft, it was the Jack Campbell draft and Gibbs, and we traded off, traded all around. And I remembered after night 1 of that draft, I loved the Jack Campbell pick. We took Jack Campbell higher than all the pundits thought that we should, higher than conventional wisdom says you take an inside linebacker. But he was hands down my favorite player in that draft. And I had thought, man, if we were picking if we were picking, 23rd, that would just be so sweet. And then they made their move,
Yeah.
and then they went for Gibbs. Um, and I'm drawing a blank on the rest of that class, but Hendon Hooker was in that class.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yeah.
everyone that I watched that draft with, and I said to them, wait and see what they do tomorrow. Wait and see what they do with all of the picks, and then evaluate this draft class as a whole. It's 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 not a conventional class after day one, but wait and see what this class looks like as a whole. And they hit fucking home run with Jack Campbell. They hit a grand fucking slam with Gibbs. Hendon Hooker is the insurance at backup that we've never had before. I think it's unfortunate the way it played
Yeah.
out for him at Tennessee that he got injured and now he's a little bit older when he was drafted and he's looking like he might be a journeyman backup, but that's okay because before that we never had a backup. Bringing a guy like I think Broderick
Yeah.
Martin is what one guy that they look at it as a Brad Holmes reach, a Brad Holmes failure. You can't win them all,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you bring in
No.
you draft a guy like Broderick Martin because he's a beast and he had decent tape and it didn't
Yeah.
necessarily work out for you. But then you bring in a guy like Mahogany, and everyone is like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you drafting Mahogany?" And it's because he's a beast, and it's because he fits the culture, and because you know what you're looking for. You're not going to win them all, but compare Mahogany to Martin. You hit a leadoff double, if not a triple or a home run with Mahogany, and maybe Martin
Yeah.
isn't working out, but you're still bringing guys in the third, fourth, fifth round. Rico Rodriguez, Derek Barnes. These are guys that were re-upping and guys that were using as centerpieces to our intermediate defense, and
Yeah.
again, bringing it full circle, I think Sheila knew what she, like you said, she knew what she didn't know. She brought in two guys that she trusted. She brought Spielman back into the fold, and she just lets him cook, and it's fucking working. Like two like-minded men that have a vision,
Yeah.
that can evaluate talent, and so far it's working.
Yeah, yeah. I'm also excited just to piggyback on what you were saying, but I'm excited to see what like Isaac Tesla can do. People thought he was a reach. He looks like he's making some big moves in camp. And another guy, what was his name? Al Qadim Muhammad, the new defensive end,
the DN.
and yeah, the DN. So he was real excited. Yeah, I mean, that could be an exciting, addition, and we'll see, all this other stuff like that. And but I remember when Sheila first got here, the 2020 draft, and that was like her first draft. Like she had, I think it was Bob Quinn making the picks back then. But
Yeah, that was.
I remember they took Jeff Okuda third overall.
2021 first round Jeff Okuda, third overall.
Yeah,
The national
third overall.
consensus. The national consensus was that he was the best corner in the draft, and they bucked the Tiger.
Yeah.
They bucked the Tiger a little bit with taking a corner that early because the general consensus in 2020 and drafts previously is that you don't take top 10, top 15 corners. So it didn't pan out with Akuda, and I blame Patricia
No.
mostly for that. But now you look at what draft value and draft stock is, and you got corners going in the top 2 and 3 top 5 every year since 2020.
Yep, definitely. But that was the year, wasn't? Oh, I couldn't remember. Wasn't Justin Herbert drafted in 2020? And I think some guys wanted him. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm trying to think like what draft that was, but I remember like people wanted a quarterback back then. People were going crazy for I mean, for the longest time, because Stafford was in the league, he was always beat up. He'd been with us for 12 years at that point. We just we wanted to bring somebody else in because we figured, Stafford was long in the tooth. And Stafford proved us wrong about that. Obviously, winning a ring in Los Angeles, but I mean, people were just so done with Stafford at that point. I remember just like people clamoring for a quarterback, and people freaked out about the Okuda pick, and that's kind of a black eye to Sheila early on. And we just kind of thought, all the people just thought it was business as usual, taking a safe pick, best player available. Not, I mean, because they wanted. I remember them talking about like how like they wanted to compete for the playoffs and not make the playoffs or something. So there's a lot of confusion about that. Like when Sheila first came in, she had a rocky road getting in here, but she proved the haters wrong, and she's kind of changed her family's legacy as far as the Lions are concerned. Now, I'm not sure where the Lions are going to be next season. There might be 10, 11 wins, but I still think they'll put together a good season. I still think we're getting a lot of talent back. I like the draft, but I feel so much more positively about the Lions now. I feel like our Super Bowl window is open, and we might have some stumbling blocks here and there. They are the Lions after all, but I'm feeling very hopeful.
Mark and I have talked about this, maybe even ad nauseum, with the idea. I don't like the idea of the window, with the new collective bargaining and the way that you have player control for like up to 6 years, depending on the round that you draft them in and how you choose to extend them. Player control is such a huge fucking thing, and it so to go back to what you were starting to say, or what you had said, I have reverence for Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford is a fucking gladiator. Matt Stafford set passing records. Matt Stafford had a 5,000 yard passing season. Matt Stafford took us to the two of them. Matt Stafford took us to the playoffs. But Matt Stafford wasn't going to win here. He was long in the tooth. He didn't fit what Campbell and ultimately Holmes wanted to do. I just think that 2020 year, Sheila's first draft, it was a weird one, man. It was a weird one. It was the COVID draft where you got Goodell in his basement and Matt Patricia in a camper, and Bill Belichick's dog making picks. It was just a weird fucking year, but so quickly did we turn it around when we got guys in place that weren't on the same page, man. It's just like you, I think, 20 minutes ago you said all hail Sheila, and I couldn't agree more. You got a guy like Brad Holmes power bombing her through a conference table in your war room because Penny Sewell slipped to you. It's just
I watched that live. I'm just like, I can't believe he fell that far. I couldn't believe it. And they swooped him up. Man, I'm so glad they did. I love Penei Sewell the best. I mean, the cornerstone of that offensive line, and the guy, you just can't expect anything better from him. But to touch on Sheila for a little bit, I mean, the one thing, I remember the first draft was kind of like I said, she had a kind of a rocky start. But the one thing that kind of started changing my opinion about her, it was that game against the Texans with Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And he absolutely obliterated us at home. And there's that famous shot of Sheila standing up in the press box with like her head in her hands.
Yep.
And like instantaneously, like right after that game, Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia were rode out on a rail. They were done.
She
and
pulled the trigger.
I remember seeing that.
She pulled the trigger. She didn't wait like her dad did for the end of the season or give him another year. She pulled the trigger. She
got rid of him now. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was leading up to a bye week.
And they had that it was the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. I forgot his name, but he coached us the rest of the season, and then we got Patricia. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We got we got Campbell. And it's just like I didn't expect her to do that kind of thing. And because that's just not what the Lions do. We just kind of limp on and just like try to fix our mistakes in the offseason and just try to play it safe and do the right thing. But, getting rid of a coach, especially, the guy had been, I think that was midway through his third season. And some people thought that maybe that's too early. Maybe we should give him another shot, whatever. But, the Lions were just absolutely lifeless. I remember that first game with Patricia against the Jets, how god awful that was,
Yeah.
and then it was just a mess all around. But just the way the culture has shifted then, and Sheila being able to make those moves and step up. So all the praise in the world for Sheila Hamp Ford.
So
she's really taken this league by storm.
who was the interim head coach after Patricia was fired?
Hold on one second. I can look it up. Detroit Lions interim coach 2020. Daryl Bevel. Remember him?
Daryl Bevel. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
The Daryl Bevel.
I had to do some quick Googling.
Yeah, the Daryl Bevels, the Scott Lenahans of the worlds. Mike Martz. We
Yes.
always put the best foot forward, but Sheila was the first one to just sever the tie and truly rebuild.
Yeah.
Ground up. Parking lot attendants,
Yep.
head coaches.
Tear it down to the foundation. It's just like, what you said about Matthew Stafford too. Just to touch on that, but Stafford got here. We Jim Schwartz, and then he had Jim Caldwell, and then he had Matt Patricia and multiple GMs. We went through Martin Mayhew, we went through Bob Quinn, and just like you just knew Stafford was done. The writing was on the wall. You just knew he was out of here. Because just imagine being Matt Stafford, being 12 years with this team, going through all sorts of unimaginable, horrific injuries, putting your blood, sweat, and tears into this team, and you're just thinking, oh God, I have to sit here through another rebuild. Oh fuck. And sometimes I wonder,
Right.
I think every once in a while, and I adore Jared Goff. I'm going to name my kid after Jared Goff, but I just think what would happen, what would Matt Stafford, thinking about that, just kind of gets the noggin jogging. And Stafford had to leave, obviously, but this team looked like, could we have won the ring with him? But we still can with Jared Goff, but I think it was a win-win trade. Obviously, but you think about those scenarios in your house.
In the long run, they got the ring and we haven't yet. But you look at Jared Goff, he's younger. You look at Jared Goff, he's been to the Super Bowl. You look at the Jared Goff contract that we inherited, and there's no secret that he was the throw-in. He was the sandbag of this trade, right? But now look forward. They knew what they wanted. They knew what they were getting. They wanted Jared Goff. I truly believe that they wanted Jared Goff. The Lions weren't viewing him as take this dead weight. Get a bridge quarterback till you can sign one or draft one, and you look at the way that quarterbacks are being paid now, and Jared Goff is middle of the road, right? It was unconscionable to think that we were acquiring, what was it, this $132 million contract or some shit. But now you look at the Patrick Mahomes and the Joe Burrows and what these guys are making now, and all of the sudden Jared Goff is a bargain, and
he's a discount.
Yeah, he's a discount, and he's doing exactly what they need him to do. He's playing at a high level. He grades out better than Patrick Mahomes over the last 3 years. I will never be convinced.
Yes.
I will never be convinced that Jared Goff was the throw-in. We'll give you all these picks if you let us unload Jared Goff. I will never be convinced. I think Holmes allowed them to think that was the case, but I think that potentially more valuable than the picks was Jared Goff, and I think that Brad Holmes knew that.
Yeah. I think so too. I think there was definitely some thought, a lot of thought process going into that. But Goff fits the scheme extremely well. Hopefully, I know we're bringing in a new OC, so hopefully the magic can continue. I'm sure they'll be fine. I trust Brad Holmes implicitly, but moreover on the contract talk and whatnot. Remember when he had to sign Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell? He signed those guys early. And people were just freaking out at the numbers, but it's just those guys were the highest paid at their position for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And then the rest of the contract started rolling in, and you saw what other guy was getting paid. But that was brilliant move by Holmes. Just another thing that kind of reinforces that this guy really knows what he's doing.
I'm not the only
Absolutely.
one. I'm not the only one or the first one to say this, but I feel like at least for the last couple of years, Brad and Dan, predominantly probably Brad, but they're playing checkers while everyone else is playing chess. They're looking down the road. They're looking 3, 4, 5, 6
Yeah.
moves ahead, and and you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not the first one to say this either, but the NFL salary cap is a social construct. It's good in theory. It places
Yes.
it places parameters. It tries to maybe even the playing field, if you will. But you have teams that are allowed to pay penalties and play over the cap, and then with player control, roster control with the new CBA, like I said before, you have the option to retain these guys for a fifth year option and a sixth and seventh year, I
Yes.
believe. What do you call it? Franchise tag, but they're
Yeah.
playing.
Franchise tag. Yep.
Yeah, they're playing chess. They're extending these guys
Yes.
before they have to, before you allow somebody else to set the market, right? A guy like Aiden Hutchinson, he might be a guy that they don't extend and exercise all options on because he will
Yeah.
be the cornerstone of the market in his sixth or seventh year, right? But they're playing chess. They're extending these guys before they need to. The Amon-Ra St. Browns, the McNeils, and in the long run, they're saving serious money.
Yes. Yes. The cap management is second to none. I mean, with the way this team is constructed, long down the road, you just know they're able to keep this team with this core, this excellent. It's not like I remember. I think it was 2017. They had the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that team was pretty damn good. But that team fell apart like the next season. All these free agents left. But the
Right.
Lions aren't built like that. We got a good nucleus around us. It's not one of those things. None of the Detroit sports teams really are, built around free agents and these big contracts. I mean, some ways, yeah, but overall, the Lions really aren't built like that. It's more of a youth movement, more building guys through the draft, securing good contracts, and just being able to remain competitive for years and years instead of just like blowing your load and getting slapped out of the playoffs. Like some of those Tigers teams in the early 2010s. But yeah, I mean the way they're built, the way they're constructed, and the how competitive they are, and how much talent is on that roster. I mean, you really you can't overlook that, and I really can't say enough good things about the Lions front office and ownership. So, it's total paradigm shift for the Lions. It's great to see. I thought I'd never see it. I thought we'd be watching like 4-12 football for the next 30 years, but nope, nope. But I think we covered the Lions. Let me think. What else should we discuss? Have you seen movies?
Well, you froze up on me a little bit. Repeat that last
Oh yeah,
question.
sorry about that. You froze on me for a second too. It's just the connection's still kind of goofy.
Yeah. What was your last question?
Um, oh yeah, I just thought like maybe we'd kind of take a break talking about sports. Maybe we talk about like let's talk about what's your favorite sports movie?
Ooh, that's a great question, dude. Um,
Yeah.
Man, so the way that I break this down is I have like the best, and then I have like the most rewatchable. Um,
Yes.
Man, and I can, if anyone cares enough to fact check me, they can go back and listen to an episode that Mark and I did about this. They can listen to an episode that Ronnie and I did about this. But I think that probably one of the best sports movies I've ever seen. Um, oh man, probably Mystery Alaska.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one. Jay Roach. Oh man, that Russell Crowe. I mean, that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that just
Bird.
like if you're a hockey fan, you absolutely have to watch it. Just like seminal Hank Azaria. I mean, it's just like
Yeah,
it's just you could tell like the passion for the game just exudes out of every piece of that movie. It's
yeah.
really,
In
I mean, just like you really get that game against the Rangers. Yeah,
same class, different vibe. When you think about sports movies, baseball has to be in contention, and I think
yeah,
The Natural is fucking phenomenal.
yep. Robert Redford.
Yeah, The Natural is phenomenal. And then there's the
Yes, excellent movie.
honorable mentions in my opinion on Field of Dreams, Miracle, Longest Yard, North Dallas 40, The Program. There's tons of awesome sports movies. And then
Yep.
you can't discount individual sports movies. I think the best individual sports movie ever made is a movie called Aspen Extreme. Have you ever seen that movie?
Okay. I
It's
have not.
it's worth the watch, Tom. If you can rent it for $2.99 or buy it
Yeah.
for $6.99. Peter Berg. I think we all know who Peter Berg is. He went on from his acting career to be
Yeah.
Oscar
He
winning.
directed Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, yeah. Peter Berg is a phenomenal director. He was a decent actor. He definitely has reverence for sports movies, and he was one of the lead characters, one of the marquee characters in a movie called Aspen Extreme from the oh gosh, probably the mid to late '90s, and it's a movie about freestyle downhill skiing. And ironically enough, interestingly enough,
Yeah.
the characters in this movie started out as ski instructors in Detroit at Mount Holly or Mount Brighton.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and
Wow.
they gave up their shit dead end jobs to move to Aspen to ski and try to be ski instructors. And
Yeah.
there's a lot. So there's TJ and Dexter, and I can't remember the actor that played TJ, but Dexter was Peter Berg. And they were running their lifts.
Yeah.
They were in the beginning of the movie. They're running their lifts at Mount Brighton, and one of them says, "We gotta go. We gotta go to Aspen. We gotta make the move. We gotta try to really do this." And Dexter says to TJ, "We can't leave. My uncle has Red Wings season tickets, and the Red Wings are gonna be awesome this year." And he says, "TJ, the Red Wings are always gonna suck." So it's a very well made movie. Starring
Excellent.
some future heavy hitters. So as far as individual sports go, I would say Aspen Extreme. As far as sports in general,
Yeah.
it's gonna probably be Miracle or what did I say, the where the Rangers come to town, and Mystery Alaska. I mean, you can't talk about
Yeah. Miss
rewatchable.
Really. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm looking up Aspen Extreme on IMDb right now, and Paul Gross played TJ. And there's
Okay.
Terry Polo. Who else? William McNamara, Bill Farrell, Martin Kemp. So not the most well known, but
No, but
definitely it came out in
I would guess like
no, it
90,
looks it. I mean, I got to definitely check it out though.
I would guess like
93 came out
95.
in 93.
Okay, I was gonna say 95, 93. Okay, I remember
Yeah,
seeing, and at the time I was really
yeah,
into
but
downhill skiing, and I remember seeing that movie at the show. I remember buying that movie on VHS. Then I bought it on DVD. Then I owned it on Blu-ray. Now I own it in my digital library. It's one of my most revered and rewatched movies of all time.
yeah, excellent, excellent. That's great.
What are
But
yours?
I remember like some man. I got so many. I remember Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino. That was a classic right there, Cameron Diaz. Just like one of those movies. It's kind of goofy looking back at it now, like the scene where the guy's eyeball popped out and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of like, oh, what the hell? But it's one of those extreme movies. Kind of shows the seedier side of sports. I remember watching Playmakers on HBO back in like 2004,
God,
and that show was really groundbreaking for the time. It showed.
I
Yeah.
loved Playmakers. I tried to bring up Playmakers to Mark a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. He didn't know what I was talking about, but Playmakers was like revolutionary.
Yeah,
Playmakers was
it was
awesome.
really a cutting edge show for the time.
I still own it in a box set on DVD. I don't even own a DVD player.
No
but
kidding.
I still have the box set of Playmakers.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. That was a great show. But I remember like kind of shifted focus to baseball a little bit. I remember I saw Moneyball, and I loved sports, and I loved kind of this. I remember like when things started changing a little bit in like the 2000s, the 2010s. I remember those Oakland A's teams. Now they lost like Johnny Damon, and they pulled off that 20-win streak. And they're talking about that, and all the moves they made back then, kind of putting this team together, and like this kind of romanticizing of the sport like that, and just showing that you don't need like big name talent. Now, granted, the A's didn't win a World Series that year, but still, they were able to do something very impressive, considering the kind of team they had, and the kind of attitude around that era, that era of baseball.
Moneyball, by definition, they had players that were recovering from Tommy Johns. They had players that were out of the league, and they changed positions, and they traded away all-stars. I mean, I think didn't we acquire, was it Carlos Guillen that we acquired from the Billy Bean A's?
Carlos Pena. Yeah, it was Carlos Pena. We got him in 2000. I think that was one of the first moves Dombrowski made when he came in here and blew the whole thing up. But but I mean, it's just like, just like understanding that the fundamentals of the game, and just like kind of showing a different era of the game, because everybody romanticizes. We remember like the Yankees teams and some of those Red Sox teams and whatnot, and how the heavy hitters on those teams, and they're just like chock full of stars and stuff like that. But kind of getting away from that, showing a different aspect of the game, showing you can win without big talent. And that kind of reminds me of the Tigers a little bit, what they've been trying to do. A lot of farmhands on this team, a lot of guys that, probably would be, lower rotational guys on more competitive. I mean, Tigers are really still competitive, but obviously they've had struggles. But, kind of remind
the last 2 years, the last 2 years in particular, we have put together this team. Not that it's Moneyball by definition, but the last 2 years with the right manager, we've been able to really make a splash with guys that were outcasted and guys that weren't in the pipeline, and it's been fun.
Yeah, but I mean, it just reminds me so much. I mean, the run the Tigers went on last year, it just kind of reminds me of the A's a little bit. They're just winning tons of games. They were just like, they were totally out of the playoff picture for most of the season. Then they come roaring back, and it's a great story. And it's just like to kind of experience something like that. It's very like near and dear to me, and just see your love for baseball and all the different aspects of the game, and just like, some guys, like my dad watches the games and stuff like that, and he's always like paying attention. He's an old school baseball fan. He's been watching the Tigers, and he watched them win the World Series in '68, back when he was 10 years old. But
Right.
It's like it's just a fun game. Just like getting back to the fundamentals of baseball. It's not always about star power. It's not always about like this kind of like weird celebrity kind of culture they try to inject into sports. It's just about sitting down with a scorecard, going down to the stadium, getting a hot dog and a warm beer, and just watching the game. But just that kind of like that simplistic thing that just why we all love baseball, or at least why why baseball is still the mainstay. But it's a movie like that, kind of circling back around to talking about movies and stuff like that. But it's just it was fun. It's fun, and but yeah.
All right.
I mean, thinking about like
you're breaking up on me a little bit again, but I want to say something. I gotta pee. So I
Go
can
ahead.
keep going for
Okay.
another hour. I can keep going for another hour, or we can end it, whatever you're feeling like. But either way, I gotta pee real bad.
Oh, we've been about an hour and a half right now. Go ahead, P. I'll just start monologuing, and then
Yeah,
we can
I'll
go for
be,
however long you want to go.
yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, folks, I guess you're stuck with me for the next few minutes, but hopefully you're enjoying the show. I don't know who's still commenting, but yeah, we're having some fun here. Hopefully the quality isn't too shitty for you guys. I apologize for that, but is anybody watching? One watching now. I think that's just me. But yeah, just if you're watching this, if you watch this far into it, I mean, leave some comments below. Let me know what your favorite sports movies are. We can have a discussion about that kind of stuff. Just like some great sports moments. Just whatever, and we can take off on that kind of stuff. We can discuss these sorts of things, and just have a nice conversation. But I appreciate y'all watching. Really, I think it's just Mark watching. I don't think anyone's watching right now, but we're streaming to an audience of no one. But that's okay. That's okay. Jeez Louise, the quality is so bad. Oh man. Oh, but yeah, I'm just shit talking here. There's like 4 pixels on the goddamn screen. Jeez, Hitches, we're taking the world's longest piss. My God. My God. Oh. Oh, shit. Might as well plug in my phone. There we go. Alrighty. But, yeah, we'll keep her going for a little while. Oh.
All right, I'm back.
Let's see if Hitch comes back. Let's see
I'm
what.
back, baby.
Oh, here we go. All right, how you doing, man?
Oh, that was I.
Are you relieved now that you've made a pee-pee?
I really had to pee. That's one thing that Mark can edit out.
No, I totally.
When we're doing our thing, Mark can edit that shit out.
Yeah.
But I don't care, dude. Everybody pees.
Yeah, everybody peace. No, don't worry about that stuff. I might do some editing on this. Hopefully, everything comes out looking good. I'm checking the YouTube right now. It looks pretty decent, but I think we're streaming to an audience of nobody. But that's okay because we had some very good conversations.
It's a way.
Yeah,
it's a
who
way
gives
to
a shit?
pass
Just put it out
it's a-
there.
Yeah, it's a way to pass the time, and if we pick up some views,
Yeah.
tomorrow, whatever, dude.
Yeah, it's all good. I might chop this up a little bit and see what we can do, but yeah, I mean, I feel like we're just like two old buddies just shooting the shit. I mean, it's fun to do this kind of stuff. Hopefully we can get together in real life soon and have some beers and go watch the Lions game or what have you. But
dude,
it's good to talk to people.
I would love to do a live fan forum podcast with the three of us, or we get together and get on your show. But yeah, dude, it's
Sure.
just- if we're gonna have these conversation anyways, we might as well do it. And if people want to hear, they'll tune in.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, as long as we just put the content out and let it go, and just see who follows it. I wish I am beer free right now. I could really crack open a cold one right now, but I think I'll abstain for the time being. But geez, let me think. Talk about sports movies.
Everybody
go ahead.
that tunes into Fan Forum, everybody that might watch this, they probably think that I'm just this chain smoking alcoholic, but this is my free time. Like, I have a couple of hours a week to cut loose and crack a beer, smoke some cigs, talk some shit with my buddies. This is like once a week at best that I get to just cut loose. So if I'm gonna cut loose, we might as well stream it.
Yeah, hell. Yeah, might as well. Might as well just fucking around. If nothing else, we've reconnected, and that's what's really important. But Man, I'd go for a beer and a cigarette right now. Goddamn, I'm jealous. I can't smoke in this house right now. It's a rented house, but there's a nice back porch. As long as it's not too hot out, you can go out there. Just, man,
well,
I miss doing that. I'm using these shitty nicotine pouches.
you know what, dude? It sounds like you're kind of on the same schedule that I am, is catch when catch can and take advantage of your free
Yeah.
time. And you want to come over here, dude? We'll borrow Mark's soundboard, or we'll buy one, and we can belly up to the workbench right here and have the same conversation live and in color, dude. I'm out here most nights, so come on
Yeah,
over.
that sounds good. That sounds good. Are you still in the shores?
So I was in the shores forever, dude. I thought that I was never gonna leave the shores.
Yeah.
I own two homes in the shores.
Oh,
What I was poised. Well, I have owned two homes in the shores. I didn't own two homes at one time, but I lived on a street called Clarewood, over behind Shores Inn. That was my first home that I bought, and then I moved over to 48080 and lived on a street called Mauer right over
yeah.
by Dolan Optical and Eastside Bagel, and I thought that was going to be my
Yeah.
forever, I thought that was going to be my forever house. My wife and I fell in love with this kind of sprawling wide open brick ranch, and we bought it. We put a lot of work into it, remodeled a ton of it, and then the fucking cap came off, and our mortgage payment went through the fucking roof. And at the same time,
Oh, fuck.
yeah, at the same time, the school district that we were in, the South Lake district, was a failing school. It was going downhill. We had a 3.5-year-old at the time, and I thank my lucky stars every day. But she's an achiever right now. She's a very smart kid, and we wanted to get her in out of South Lake district and into a better district, and it just so happened that the house we live in now came available. It was on the market for a while during that time period where homes were just going like hotcakes, and
Yeah.
we lived at Mauer long enough to avoid capital gains tax, and bought the home that we're in now, and we're in Girls Point Woods, about a mile outside of St. Clair Shores.
Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah, Grosse Point Woods. That's a nice area. I lived close to the woods when I was in Detroit, living near. I lived near Maross and Jefferson by St. John Hospital. That's where my grandma's
Yeah.
place was. I lived there for about 4 years. But
So
that was a. I'm gonna regale us. I mean,
can you hear the sirens? When you say St. John Woods, I'll hold the microphone, or St. John Hospital. I'll hold the microphone and tell me if you can hear the sirens. No, it's not picking
oh, I
up
don't hear
on the-
anything.
But when you say near St. John, you can see St. John from my front yard. We live in the flight path of the rescue flight
Oh,
helicopter. You can see St. John from my front yard. We are
shit.
right there.
Oh no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's
my
cool.
My daughter.
That's cool. Well, that's right near my
daughter
old neck of the
waves
woods,
at
man. I remember.
Helicopter pilots, when they're flying flights onto St. John, she waves at the pilots and they wave back.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. It's just like it's kind of crazy where you wind up. I mean, I thought I was going to be in the shores forever myself, and I decided just one day I just had thought. I had been wanting to move to Grand Rapids for a while, and I was down there living in a trailer for about 4 years. It wasn't home. I don't feel like regaling you with all the stories about Grand Rapids. I had some fun in Grand Rapids. I had some good times, but it just wasn't home. And I missed my buddies. I missed my friends. And I missed, my brother lives here. I got a ton of friends in this area. I've been reconnecting with them slowly over the last couple of weeks, and just trying to, just make this place my home again. But, I'm so far so good. I dig it. But yeah, I know it's good to be back on the east side.
What is Joe up to? How's Joe?
No. He's been 10 or 12 years. I don't remember, but he's been there for a while. He's an engineer for Ford. He makes some good money working there. He's been there for a long time. He's doing well. He's straight from us. But yeah, I get together with him. I try to get together with him like once a week or once a couple weeks. He's busy, obviously. I've had some time lately, just bouncing around in there. I've had, I don't want to bore you, but I've had health problems, and I'm kind of just playing the waiting game, just kind of being safe and whatnot. But just kind of waiting, seeing what else is out there for me, as far as like jobs and whatnot go. But I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm basically just being a fucking man child. I'm kind of staying with my dad right now. We got this whole situation worked up, but I had some rough times in Grand Rapids. I had some bad luck there, and it's just been last couple of years have been kind of challenging. But I'm starting to kind of pull myself out of it, and it's just like everything's going well for me right now. I got plenty of stuff keeping me busy. I'm enjoying life. First time in a long time I could say that, because man, it was rough for a while. I remember losing my job before the pandemic, and I was unemployed for 6 months, and it sucked. But I'm starting to get back up. Money's still a little tight, but it is what it is. And I can't let that stuff keep me down. I don't want to treat this like a therapy session, but
yeah.
it's just it's been a wild ride last couple of years, but things are starting to finally level off.
Well, we can talk after we're not live streaming to the world, but the field that I've been in for the last
Sure.
the last 20 years is clamoring for kind of entry level help, if you will. And if you want to talk about that, I think
Okay.
you've been breaking up a little bit, and I think I've been breaking up on you a little bit. But if you're in Macomb County, you're around the area here, we can talk. I can send you some options that might that might pan out, kind of make your own schedule, and maybe lead to some bigger things. And we'll talk. We'll talk off air about that. I've been at the same company. I'm not going to name it, but I've been at the same company for almost 20 years, and I love what I do. It's rewarding, and we're hiring.
Shit, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I tell you what, I think we've covered all the topics. The stream quality is kind of going in and out. I'm watching the YouTube stream, and it's kind of just there's like 5 pixels where my face is. But let's end the stream. Thank you all for watching, Mark mostly, and then we can have a conversation after that. Sounds good. Let me go ahead and end it. Thank you all for watching. And I don't know how many viewers we have, kind of recorded late on a Monday night, so probably not too many, but
it's all right. That's all right. We got out there, and this will be out there.
But thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, right? Yeah. There it goes again. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.